continues to amaze me. The audience that we're reaching and the kind of response that we're getting.
We're in there. We're like tinkering with things inside their brain, and we're making them feel things that they can't stop from feeling.
To realize that I have been an inspiration of sorts to some people is such a gift.
The Tony Award for Best Orchestrations went to Alex Lockamoir and Bill Sherman in The Heights. Best Choreography went to Andy Blankenbuehler in The Heights.
The Tony Award for Best Score, which I already opened, goes to In the Heights. Music lyrics by Lin-Manuel Miranda.
And the winner, the 2008 Tony Award, goes to In the Heights.
Performing in the show every night, winning the Tony Award for Best Musical, it's an incredible feeling when your dreams come true. My name is Lin-Manuel Miranda. I'm the composer and lyricist for In the Heights, and I also play Usnavi.
Me and my cousin running, just another dime a dozen, mom and pop stopping, shopping. Oh my God, it's gotten too darn hot. Like my man Cole Porter said.
I started writing In the Heights my sophomore year at college at Wesleyan University. At first it was, I want to write the kind of musical I would want to be in.
They gossip as I sip, my coffee is smirk. The first stop is people hop to work. Bust it, I'm like...
And a light bulb really went off, and I was like, oh, you can write like a musical about you, about your life.
2 quarter waters, the New York Times, you need a bag for that, the taxes had it, once you get some practice at
it. And it wasn't until I got to Wesleyan, really, that I realized that there's a generation of us who either were born somewhere else and moved here, or you know, were born here, but their parents came from somewhere else, whether it's from Latin America or Russia or the West Indies, and don't know where they belong and what they're supposed to navigate and what traditions you take with you.
In the Heights, money is tight, but even so, when the lights go down, I blast my radio.
I know Fiddler on the Roof backwards and forwards. Fiddler on the Roof was really our template. Joe Stein came to see the show twice, and he came to see it, and he said, oh, I loved it, it's wonderful. And I said, I hope you loved it. All the best stuff we stole from you.
In the Heights, I hang my flag upon display.
We came to work and to live, and we got a lot in common.
Particularly in terms of establishing that sense of community, which he does so masterfully in the opening number, Tradition.
Every day, paciencia y fe. Until the day we go from poverty to starting out. In the Heights, I've got today.
And today's all we got, so we cannot stop. This is our block. In the Heights.
That feeling of tradition, that sense of tradition and tradition coming apart is a universal feeling. And I think we've tapped into that within the Heights, that feeling of home and where do you belong. It doesn't matter if you're Latino or not. It doesn't matter if you're young or old. At some point, you had someone who wanted you to do better. And at some point, you have felt out of place where you have lived all your life.
The summer nights are cooler when you're home.
Now that you're here with me.
And that song you are hearing.
That's why I think this story is so universal, because everybody can relate to that. You know what I mean? Especially people that came to this country with nothing, you know, and had to survive and had to push forward and still hold on to that sense of family.
Cheering you along.
Don't say that.
What's wrong?
Don't say that. When I was younger, I'd imagine what would happen if my parents had stayed in Puerto Rico.
I think one of the most autobiographical sections of the show is Nina's bridge in When You're Home, and she goes, when I was younger, I'd imagine what would happen if my parents had stayed in Puerto Rico. That line is like what I spent most of my childhood wondering. Most of my friends growing up were these white Jewish kids, and I went home and spoke Spanish. And so I had a lot of growing up wondering where I belonged.
Thinking, where am I supposed to be? So please don't say you're proud of me when I've lost my way.
It's a great story and a great family time, because I think that great times are also about learning about your heritage, and I think that this kind of show brings up those kind of questions and those kind of stories that you have in your head that you don't think of all the time, but they're there and you want to share it.
And I think there's a sense of discovery with this show because it's something that adheres and embraces the traditions of musical theater, things that we loved, and it has a language and a vocabulary that might be a little bit new, but when Abuela comes out at the end, at a student matinee or at a theater-going audience age, they scream for her.
Hey, Mama, it wasn't like today, you'd say, paciencia y fe. Paciencia y fe. Paciencia y fe. Fresh off the boat in America, freezing in early December.
All of us, if we are in America, if you go back probably not that many generations, somebody came over here and somebody had to try to make their way and someone had to struggle with the preservation of their own culture, how to maintain the integrity of that within the home when the rest of the world was speaking a different language or the rest of the world was moving at a pace they might not be used to.
You better clean this mess. Paciencia y fe. Paciencia y fe.
There was this grown man, this I don't know, 60s, and he was saying, "That's my Nana. That's my Nana." You know, and that's really what makes it worthwhile for me, to have somebody, you know, identify their grandmother through this character that I'm playing. That's what it's all about, really, for me. That they can see their family, and it's not a Latin family, it's a Jewish family, it's a white family, it's a Hindu family, whatever. It's that bond that you have with your grandparents. Primarily for my characters, your grandparents, or a mentor, an elderly person that meant a lot for you, you know. And that's really what's rewarding to me.
That question of finding your island and finding home is not only a geographical one, but really an emotional one.
The elevated train drives everyone insane, but I don't mind, oh no. If I bring bad boys, they can't tolerate the noise, and that's okay, 'cause I never let them stay. And one day, I'm hopping in an elevated train and I'm riding away, yeah.
What I think In the Heights does as a show is it says there was a neighborhood here. It was a largely Hispanic neighborhood. That's gonna change very soon. It'll soon get too expensive for us. We'll move to the Bronx. We'll move to parts of Connecticut. But this was here.
They'll say break my stride. It's a compliment, so they say.
I think that In the Heights does shine a light on realities that are not unique to Washington Heights. In fact, they're happening all over the city.
If I win the lottery, you'll never see me again.
Damn, we only joking. Stay broke then.
I'll be downtown. I'll get a nice studio. I'll get out of the barrio.
It's someone who is offering more money than you can pay for, where you live. It's the pressure of trying to have a college career and have to work 2 jobs. Those are all the pressures that these characters face and they have to try to work through.
I think Washington Heights is one of the last places where that still exists, in Manhattan, certainly, where you feel like there's a community out on the street and there's a community on the corner and you know the people you're gonna see when you get out of the train and walk home. I think older theater goers respond to that as well.
This is a story that is about New York, and it's bigger than New York. And I think that that's something that we're incredibly proud of.
In the Heights reaffirms my faith in live theater and the power that it has.
It's telling the story of everybody that's had a struggle or fought for something.
There's an honesty in our show, and there's so much heart with every actor on the stage that we all tried to really preserve.
And the story, at the end of the day, is about home. And people really respond to that. It really has proven to be universal.
You hear that music in the air, take the train to the top of the world.